Hello and welcome to the Inside the U live postgame show. The Miami Hurricanes beat FIU 17-1. There's a lot to get into with this one. We will go straight to postgame interviews with Gino DiMare and players as soon as they're available. Shout out to everybody that's here. It's a big time of year right now for Miami at the midway point. They improved to 23-6. They've won 10 straight games, the longest winning streak since the end of the 2018 season. So great by Miami. They have a big series coming up this weekend against number 3 Virginia. We will get into that later, but I definitely want to talk about this game. And if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like answered, not just by myself, but also with coach and players, we'll certainly try to give you guys as much information as possible. I have not been able to do a live post-game show lately. Wanted to do this. I was able to fit it in. We got busy with spring football and everything going on here. Big night tonight by Edgardo Villegas, a freshman left fielder. He's a guy that's really come on, started a lot lately. We'll get into that, but he had been struggling coming into this game. 1 for 19, 1 for his last 19, 2 for his last 26. Finishes the night with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Great performance by him. It was definitely good as he gets that slump out of the picture, and hopefully he can move forward for the Virginia series and everything else moving forward. Also, big night by Dominic Pitelli, 4 RBIs by him. A lot of guys saw action tonight. There's 2 guys that they're dealing with a little bit of an injury, and Carlos Perez and also Lorenzo Carrier. Hopefully we get an update from Gino here in a little bit when he comes to do his post-game Zoom interview here. A lot of offense in this one, 8 runs in the second inning. That's what really set everything apart. They get the 1 early run, but 9-0 in the second. Then it climbs to 15 there through 4 innings, and obviously it was over by then. So a lot with the offense, great to see a lot of guys getting hits, and also that big inning, 12 batters reached or came to bat there in the second inning. But Jake Garland, I definitely want to mention him because he goes 8 innings, and I definitely want to ask Gino's thought on it. But he pitches 8 innings, and you might say, well, why is he pitching that many innings in a game like this? Remember, Miami played 2 midweek games this week. They played last night. Starter only, Dubberly, who first started the season, only gave him 4 innings, which was good. But that means 5 different guys, 5 different bullpen guys got in there and pitched. So I thought this was a great time to get the bullpen rested heading into the big series against Virginia. I'm sure that's why they kept Jake out there. Jake threw a career high 8 innings, allowed only 1 run, 6 hits, and struck out 6. So certainly a good performance by him. 92 pitches, 62 for strikes. Offense will overshadow his performance in this one, certainly. But I definitely think he had a good performance tonight, kept the ball down as he does when he's pitching well. So good for him and good for the team. And I think this is good. These 2 wins here, they beat FGCU last night, 5-2. And then this FIU win, obviously a blowout. And this is a team that did not look ahead at the Virginia series. Again, Virginia ranked number 3 in the country coming up. There's a lot to get into. Virginia is playing right now against Liberty. They're ahead 2-1 in the 5th. We'll get to that scoreboard here and why this is a big series. But I thought it was good that Miami stayed in the moment. They certainly need to do that. And I think that they certainly showed that tonight by coming out strong in all facets. It starts with the highlight, a nice play in the first inning by Yo-Yo Morales at third base, barehanded pickup, throws it to first. So good defensive play, no errors by the defense, and touched on the pitching. Just an all-around performance and dominant. Definitely. So that was good to see. I will have highlights of this game. I will show you guys in a little bit, depending on, I might do it before we get into some interviews, depending on how long it takes for Gino to get on and the players, or we'll wait till afterwards. But I want to show you guys the home runs, 4 home runs hit by Miami. The other ones, I touched on Pitelli. He also had a home run finished. That's his 6th of the year. We touched on Villegas. Now he's got 3 on the season. Then CJ Kafis hit a 3-run homer, so good for him. That's his 3rd of the season. It's 4 home runs, a season high for Miami. 19 hits on the day. Overall, you're looking at the 5 walks, able to draw 5 walks, 9 strikeouts on the offensive side. So once again, a lot of guys got in the game. It's good to see. You're starting to see that quite a bit recently with some of these games that get out of hand. You're starting to see these other guys get in there, and I think that's good. And these other guys, not just for playing defense, but they got a couple at bats. So that was good to see. Shout out Henry Wallen, his first career hit. And also J.D. Jones caught for just the second time, started at catcher for the second time this season. he got in there, got a couple hits, had an RBI late in the game. So good to see some other guys that aren't, the regular players, but get in there and also produce. So that's good to see. And then Anthony Arguelles goes in there and pitches the ninth to close it out. Canes Cat Heat is here. Big week for Miami. Definitely shout out to you for being in here on the chat. If anybody has any comments or questions, definitely drop below and we'll get into some things. Also, I want to make mention of that, all the starters reached base. I thought that was good. Levinson didn't have a hit, but he did get hit by a pitch and was able to get on base there. So it's good that up and down the lineup, guys are getting on base. 3 different guys hit home runs. Just the one double there by Villegas. I wanted to mention that too. He had the 2 home runs and really did a good job of staying inside. And I'll show you the highlights on those home runs, but really stayed on top of the ball and drove it. And the second one came on a 3-1 pitch, I think, there to deep center field. We can look real quick here. Kafis came in the third. The double there. The 3-run shot on a 3-1 pitch. So it goes 3-0, takes a pitch, makes a 3-1, and then goes ahead and drives it out of the park. So that was good for him. A good at bat, just to be able to deliver like that and also to not take the walk. So Miami jumped all over Christian Santana. Had been struggling all year. High ERA coming into it, and Miami made him pay. So it was good that they took advantage of a pitcher that had been struggling, and really any pitcher that came in here really had a tough time, particularly early in the game. FIU drops to 10-18. They've lost 6 of 7. As I said, Miami improves to 23-6 with their 10th straight win. They're really on a roll. And what's great about what's going on, and one of the things that's been happening with this team, is roles are being established. You had a lot of new faces in the lineup. They're still working on a couple spots that they'd like to try to get more production or try to figure out exactly who they want to go with. And that's fine. Sometimes you'll go with the hot guy and maybe it'll just depend on how things go or matchups lefty righty or just how things are kind of going on moving forward. So it's good to have a little bit of spot there, some flexibility, but for the most part, everybody else is pretty much set. And I think that shows in a couple guys that have been struggling lately. Villegas had been struggling, but he's still been batting second in the order. Coach is certainly confident in the freshman. Stays up there. Like I said, he was 2 for his last 26. Stays up there. They stay confident in him. They keep running him out there, and he produced tonight. Dorian Gonzalez Jr. at second base has been kind of in that 6, 7, 8 spot in the lineup lately, and he's really been struggling coming into this game. 1 for its last 29, but he'd still been starting. He's started every game this year, so coach is still confident in him. Tonight, I thought it was good. He had a base hit, kind of just a bloop hit there, but also he gets he has a sacrifice fly, so that was productive at bat, and they also drew a walk. So in his 3 plate appearances, I think that's something he could possibly build on moving forward, and he should have, should feel good that the coaches still feel confident in him. So Max Romero gets a day off from catching, goes to DH. He is another guy that had been struggling a little bit. It's been, it didn't happen tonight. I think it'd been, so this is the 16th straight game for Romero. Has not had a multi-hit game, but hopefully, maybe it's something he can build on from tonight. He gets a hit, and also he didn't catch tonight, so maybe just an extra day of rest. Maybe he'll get it going against Virginia. Certainly they need him. He's batting in that 4th spot. My point with all the struggles is coach feels confident in these guys, and these are his guys, and they're winning games. And I think that's great with you're not having a lot of guys disappointed with their performances when they're losing. Right now, you can certainly handle a little bit of personal disappointment as the team continues to win, as guys continue to step up either on the mound or at the plate. Certainly a lot of guys stepped up tonight and had good performances, but just in general, what's been working for this team over the last 10 games. So here we go. We're still waiting. If you're just jumping on, we're still waiting for Gino DiMare to have his post-game press conference, as well as the players. I'm not sure who exactly is going to, which players are going to be here. But I would assume, Edgardo, because of his big day, It'd be great to get his point of view. And also, he's a guy that I personally don't know real well because he's a new guy and haven't gotten a chance to talk to him. So it'll be good to kind of get his perspective on things and how his season has gone here. We'll shoot over real quick. I do want to show you the Virginia game. They're leading 4-1 here in the 5th inning as they wrap up, and Virginia right now is 25-3. So it's obviously going to be a big series coming up this weekend. I will have more content breaking down the Virginia series, so I will touch on it a little bit in this video after we move past the FIU game. But I definitely will have a complete breakdown that I will have posted on the channel and on the website on InsideTheU.com. Looking to do that tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for more information on that series, breaking down everything from both sides, both points of view there. Again, if you're just joining us, Miami gets off to a 1-0 lead there in the 1st inning. Home run by Villegas gets it started. And then everything goes right in the 2nd inning for Miami. 8 runs in the inning. 12 guys go to the plate. Couple home runs. Pitelli hit his 2-run shot to make it 3-0 there quickly. And then guys kept getting on base. And that was great to see. Walks come in to score. And Villegas delivers that kind of that knockout blow. With a 3-run homer there in the 2nd inning, and they add a couple more runs, and Pitelli also gets a 2-run single. So Pitelli gets up to bat twice. Each at bat drives in 2 runs. Good performance by him in that inning. Miami leads 9-0 and coasted from there. Jake Garland was really dominant with his performance, and you see it right here on his outs. So of his 24 outs, just kind of his breakdown, and this is typical with what you see with Jake Garland. 24 outs, he retired there. 6 by strikeouts, 13 ground outs, and that's when he's at his best. Only 3 flyouts, so definitely good there. I'm looking at the numbers, so 22, and then the ground ball, it says double play there, so missing an out. But anyways, he's been pitching well. He's moved into this midweek starter role. They've moved him out of that weekend rotation, and he's still, producing well. Improves to 5-1 on the season, which is good. This was his 7th start. Miami is 5-2 in games that Garland starts. I see 047. Okay, we got coach here. Hold on. So we're still waiting, but the Zoom should be, just got notice, should begin in a few minutes. So definitely stay tuned here. Jeff, what's going on? Absolutely. Great to see Garland pitch so well. Glad you're here. There's no doubt it was good. And, if you want to win a bunch of games, you've got to win games midweek, and having that role as a midweek starter is certainly important. So good to see Jake. And again, the offense certainly deserves all the headlines, but for him to go 8 innings and really save the bullpen tonight, I thought that was great. And he pitched really well and did a good job. And sometimes, those are long innings he was able to endure waiting to get back out on the mound. And every time he delivered, it wasn't a sloppy game. And I thought it was good too. He bounced back from his game last week where he gave up 9 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. So definitely a better performance tonight all around. We've got a few reporters jumping on here. I definitely want to try to get some questions. Matt, we'll get into that. We're going to get started here. Yeah, we've touched on, I'll get into the Carlos Perez and Lorenzo Carrier updates. Hopefully ask Gino about these two to find out when they might be coming back. But we'll get into that. We'll be getting started here shortly. We might go players first. And I'll just bring back the stats here. Oh, here we go.
Edgardo, can you hear us?
Yes.
Give me 1 second, Eddie. I'm sorry. Eddie, sorry about that. We have Miami Hurricanes freshman Edgardo Villegas. If you have a question for Edgardo, please use the hand raise function.
Recording in progress.
And we will start with Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Hey, Edgardo. I'm curious about what kind of led to this performance. You'd been struggling lately. What were you kind of doing to try to get past some of the struggles you've had? And then, how did you feel tonight in these, particularly the first couple of bats?
Yeah, so in baseball it happens, and you know that sometimes you can go like 0 for 15 or whatever. So I just try to keep going, keep doing the same routine that I did at the beginning of the season. And today was a pretty amazing game. Thank God. I put all my work in, and thank God it went great.
Our next question comes from Cal Friedman at Kane Sport. Cal?
Hey, Garda, 10th straight win for you guys. What's the mood in the locker room going into this series against Virginia?
Nah, it's amazing. It's amazing. We had like our coach told us that we're gonna have a steak dinner, and if we won, like 10 games in a row, and it was pretty amazing. We are excited to face Virginia. I think we can. We are a great team. We have a great streak, winning, and I know that we're ready for them.
Where's the steak dinner going to be?
At the boss house, Gino's house.
Are there any other questions for Edgardo? We'll go back to Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Hey, Edgardo, I'm just curious what this season has been like for you. Get into this role. Like you said, you were hitting so well. Just what's it like kind of being a part of this team, day in and day out? What's this season been like for you?
It's been amazing. Like I don't know if you guys know, but I couldn't play my senior year, and like coming here, and like play every day. I'm passionate about it, and I'm gonna keep trying to help the team the way that I'm doing it, and I'm gonna keep battling for the team. And I know that the team is gonna be there for me if I struggle, if I'm doing well, and so yeah.
What kind of going back? Coaches are obviously still confident in you. They still kept batting you second. You kept starting, even though, like you said, you've been kind of struggling a little bit. How much does that give you confidence that they had confidence in you? How much does that help you?
It helps me because like I know that they have confidence in me, and it also helps me like because I know that I can do it, and I've been doing it in the beginning of the season. And how I said, in baseball everything happens. You can have a bad weekend, but that doesn't mean that you're a bad player or whatever.
We've seen you hit the ball all season long in doubles, but the home runs hadn't been there. Had you been feeling like you had just been missing? Had you been feeling like a couple were coming soon?
Yeah, I know that they're gonna come soon. I'm gonna keep swinging hard. I'm a guy that I step on the box and I'm on a mission. I'm hunting, and I'm gonna keep swinging the ball hard and to see what happens.
Our next question comes from Haley Sutton at NBC6. Haley?
What's the mood like in the locker room? You guys are kind of getting into the swing of conference play at the beginning of the year. Everyone was really excited about this team coming together. So just what's the mood been like, especially after a big win like today?
No, we're hype. We're hype. We've been waiting for this the whole season. We know that we have the talent in the team to do what we are doing, and we're excited. We're excited about our job, and like also all the hard work that we put on the fall is paying now.
Are there any other questions for Edgardo? Eddie, thanks for the time and congrats on the win.
We should be getting someone else soon. Probably another player, I would guess.
Dom, can you hear us?
Here we go. Dominic Pitelli.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We have Miami shortstop and reigning ACC co-player of the week, Dominic Pitelli. If you have a question for Dom, please use the hand raise function. We'll start with Cal Friedman from Kane Sport. Cal.
Hey, Dom, congratulations on the performance and the win again. Earlier in the season, Coach Lopez said how hard that you worked at the start of the season to make sure you improved your swing, excuse me. What precisely were you working at to make sure that you could hit the ball like this?
Really just working on a smoother and slower swing, or easier swing, I guess you could say it. Two strike approaches, things like that. But yeah, I'm proud that I've come a long way just to keep working. Got a lot of
You have it in mind that you were going to get to this point of this season where you're ACC co-player of the week and you had 4 RBIs tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, you put in the work, anything can happen. You know, there's a lot of guys putting in the work everywhere, but you just got to believe in yourself. That's about it.
Our next question comes from Christopher Stock at InsideTheU. Chris.
Hey, Dom, second inning, you guys get it going, really jump on them. How important was that? And what would you kind of see with your team? And obviously you're able to get up there twice, but how good was that to be able to get that big lead early?
Oh, no, that's great. I mean, that puts a lot of pressure off of multiple people, the coaches, our pitcher. Now he knows he's got runs behind him, and we just keep on hitting the ball and scoring runs. That's good for our hitters. Just good confidence rolling throughout how we've been playing and the future games we have coming on now.
Was there an extra point of emphasis to make sure you're not looking ahead too much to get this win, and obviously last night too, but you know, really focus in on this and then worry about the series this weekend?
Oh, yeah, of course. Gino likes to say every game is the most important game of the year. You can't win. You can't think about tomorrow's game when you have a game today. You can't think about tomorrow's at-bats when you have at-bats today. So it's just every game is the important game of the year. The next important game of the year is on Friday against Virginia.
Our next question comes from Haley Sutton at NBC6. Haley.
Dom, obviously you have been hot at the plate, 2 grand slams, a couple of homers. Just what's working for you this season?
Like I said before, approach. Just been working a lot on hitting, working a lot with Lopes, but just thinking approach, what I want to do, who's pitching or how they're pitching, and I just feel like I've just gotten a lot better at that.
What's it like to hit a grand slam? I mean, I've never played baseball before, but you've got 2 more than I'll ever have. So what is that moment like for you?
Before this weekend, I was tied with you with how many grand slams you had, but never hit one before in my life. It was great. I really just tried to drive something out there, both at bats. I tried to drive something out to get some runs, and they just both went out. You know, they were both high, and I hit them both well.
And what's your confidence like going into a series like a team against Virginia where you're hitting really well, and this is going to be a good series for y'all?
Good. I'm feeling very confident. I feel confident about everything on our staff, our coaches, our players, our pitching, everything. Confident about everything.
Our next question comes from Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan.
Hey, Dom, a nice few games there.
Thank you.
Now with, now all of a sudden you're like a home run hitter. And for a guy who's, you're listed as 5'11" and 175 pounds, do you have to is that true?
6 feet with cleats on.
Okay.
They didn't measure me with the cleats.
How about the 175?
That's about right.
Okay.
Can't do too much about that.
Do you have to now when you get up to the plate, you have to tell yourself not to? Sometimes when guys are doing really well like that, then they overreach, they overextend themselves and try to swing for the fences. You have to kind of remind yourself that now, or?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be most of the times I'm disciplined about it, but there'll be some times where I know I'll be trying to get too big, and I just tell myself to calm down and stick to what I've been doing the whole year.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
go back to Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris.
Dominic, I'm curious, the offensive production since you've been at UM, did you, and Coach Gino's talked about, he was very confident that you could be a productive guy. Did you feel like you could, that this was something that you could be at the college level, that you could hit like this?
Yes, for sure. I knew I've always had it in me, but I mean, still to keep a lot more things to be left to prove and a lot more games to be left to play. But I'm very happy where I'm at right now, and I do know I can succeed in this level.
Any other questions for Dom? Awesome, Dom. Thanks for your time. Congrats on the win.
Thank you guys.
So we go. I don't think we're done yet. I think we're going, we'll still get coach, obviously, but we might be done with players here. but I would expect Coach, somebody coming up real quick, just to give you guys a quick update. But certainly good to hear from Villegas and Pitelli, two guys important to the offense, and big performance tonight, 9 RBIs between the two guys. So yeah, we got Gino coming up shortly. You could see it here on the message that we just got from media relations. Just a note on Pitelli, that's his 6th home run of the season, which leads the team. I wouldn't expect at this point in the year that many people thought Pitelli would be the leader in home runs when you have Morales, who's played every day, Max Romero, another guy that's played every day, two guys that you would have expected to lead the home runs, and Pitelli's doing a good job of obviously driving the ball. He's hitting the ball at a good batting average. You know, he's really providing a lot for the offense, and certainly we've certainly, if you watch him, defensively is certainly where he stands out, but he's hitting the ball well and wherever they want to put him in the lineup. And one of the things I was looking at numbers coming into the game, one of the things that impresses me with him is he's a guy that doesn't strike out very much. I think that's an important stat too when you're looking at how guys are performing at the plate. I think he's doing a good job. He could walk a little bit more. However, you know, the fact that his strikeouts are down, I think that's a good sign as he's in his 2nd year here. And I just asked him about, because again, coaches and other people expected him to hit kind of sneaky pop. Was a term that we heard early on when Dom first got here. And certainly he seemed confident that he could. And if you look at his stats from high school, there's a reason why he was not expected to hit like this. But coaches were confident in him. And certainly when I asked him, he was confident in himself that if he just kept putting in the work and he was going to be able to produce, and he's been able to do that. I do want to note here, if you see the season averages, the batting averages off to the right, sometimes they're a little bit off. So I don't want to say that that's exactly what they're at. It's a little tricky. You have to go back and look at the official team site. It actually keeps stats here. You know what? I could look real quick. Yeah, coming into the game, Dominic Pitelli's strikeout rate is only 14.9% per plate appearance. I try to break down things a little bit, some stats that I find that are important. So, and that's that's the 2nd lowest among the starters coming into the game. Only CJ Kafis' 13.2 was lower. So, like I said, that's a good stat. Only 10 walks on the year. His on-base percentage 364. But, you know, OPS is over 850, which is great. And obviously it'll climb today with the home run. He also gets another base hit. Finishes 4 for 5 on the day. One of the reasons why, you know, a lot of guys came into the game, but he was the guy that stayed in. They just do not have a backup. They don't have a full slate of infielders that can go in the games here. Renzo Gonzalez, the guy that came in and played first base. He's also obviously started games at right field, but he's a guy that certainly in the fall, watching him, he played first base a little bit there and during preseason practices. So he's kind of a dual position guy, but they kind of move him to first base just to have another guy be able to play in the infield. But Ariel Garcia's been in there a little bit. Backup players, Henry Wallen touched on him earlier, first career hit at Miami. So good to see from him, but they just don't have a lot of extra infielders. And that's one of the reasons why I think, you know, with Dorian Gonzalez, they're certainly confident in him, but when he's struggling, they don't have a lot of bats or a lot of players to go to automatically turn to. It's nothing like what they have in the outfield, where they're still trying to figure out who should be the everyday right fielder, as Villegas has taken over there at left field, and they like Jacob Burke there in center field, so he's been starting there quite a bit. We're still just waiting on Gino. If you're just jumping on here, I want to look at the questions here, look at the comments. Yep, shout out, man. It's great seeing so many familiar faces in here. Kevin, obviously Matt, appreciate you for being in here. Yeah, I posted the article about Jamar there. Jeff is always posting, subscribe to the channel. Yes, please do. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do that. We're getting just a lot of content, been busy posting a lot of content on the website, and certainly want to get some baseball stuff. If you're just jumping on, I will have some Virginia stuff coming up tomorrow. Also, what else have we got? Yep, definitely want to do an update on Lorenzo and Perez. I want to ask Coach. It's always tough to ask those kind of questions. I know everybody wants to talk about the 17-1 win. Everybody wants to talk about the upcoming Virginia series, but I do want to get the updates there. Update on Double. That's not something I was aware of, so certainly I'll check on that too. Oh, Kyle's in here too, man. I appreciate. Hey, I'm glad you like the baseball coverage, and hopefully I can get back into some live stream stuff. I was doing this earlier, the post game show, then football gets in the way and some other things. I wasn't able to do this, so I haven't been able to do this lately. But definitely want to keep this. So definitely, that's one thing. If you subscribe to the channel, you can always get updates on when we're going live, when I'm going live here. Kevin, I'll show you right. You're absolutely correct. 5-1, Virginia is leading top of the 6 as we look to Liberty. Virginia is 25-3. Start of the year 22-1. So they've lost a couple in the last couple weeks here, but we will get into that. I'm surprised Gino's not in here yet. Usually when we were doing post-game press conferences in person, it was often that the players would be in the same room and the coach would be right there, whether it was Jim Morris or Gino. Just kind of waiting. So I'm surprised that it's taken a little bit here. But again, if you're just jumping on, Miami 17-1, 10 straight wins, 23-6 on the season. They've won 5 in a row over FIU. They won both games this year. They're not on the schedule to meet again. FIU drops to 10-18. They've lost 6 of 7. Here's Gino.
Gino, can you hear us?
Yeah.
We have Miami Hurricanes head coach Gino DiMare. Gino, if you can start with an opening statement, and then we'll go into questions for media on the call.
Okay. Sorry about being late here. I had to freshen up, and I apologize. But, I was just happy with the fact that, we got a big series coming up this weekend, and these 2 games, these midweek games, for me as a coach, you're always concerned about just kind of overlooking teams and getting complacent. We've been playing pretty well during the stretch, and I thought our guys played, although yesterday's game was a little different than today's, but we were in the game. We played well. We came out ready to play, and today we kind of put the game away early, and I was happy to see, some of the guys swing the bat that have been struggling a little bit. And of course, Jake, we wanted to get a game out of Jake where he can get extended a little bit, and because we got a big weekend, and of course 5 games in a week, you're always concerned about bullpen and using guys up. And he just with the doctor order, he threw 8 innings and allowed us to rest some guys, and of course threw a ton of ground balls like he always, very efficient. And it was just overall a great job by our guys.
If you have a question for Gino, please use the hand raise function. And we'll start with Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris?
Yeah, you touched on a couple guys struggling. Edgardo was one of those guys, and for him, I'm curious about your confidence in him. You leave him up there in the order, and for him to deliver, what gives you confidence? And then what'd you see tonight, maybe different than his at-bats recently?
Well, I thought his swing was a little flatter. He's got a tendency to be uphill, which creates a little length in his swing, gets long. So therefore, when you're long, you're not catching up to some fastballs. You're not staying on the same plane. You're not level and flat. So you're swinging through pitches. And even tonight, you notice when they threw him a changeup or 2, he's got to recognize that pitch. That's kind of been a problem for him during this little stretch where he was struggling, is recognizing the change out of the hand and off speed too, for that matter. But bottom line is staying flat through the zone, because even if you're out in front, if you stay flat, you still got a chance to put the ball in play pretty good. So from that standpoint, yeah. And, he's a freshman. These guys got to have to deal with some adversity and he fits that spot for us. That was a spot in the lineup, the 2 spot, which was one that we didn't really know who to hit there. There's some guys I can put there, but I'd rather leave them where they're at. And like a guy, for example, like Burke, I think we played him a couple of times early on in the 2-hole, but I like him in the 5 spot. I like him behind all those guys. I like him hitting with guys on base. He's one of our better clutch hitters. And so therefore I don't want to have to tinker with it too much. And that's why these guys they got to be able to handle a little adversity and make the adjustments. You're going to go through these stretches. You're not going to hit, throughout the year without not going through a little bit of a stretch like Edgardo's gone through.
Our next question comes from Cal Friedman from Kane Sport. Cal.
Hey, Gino, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the 10-game winning streak. Edgardo just got done telling us that you promised the team a steak dinner if you got 10 games in a row.
Yeah, that's part of why I didn't come up here. I was on the phone with my wife trying to hurry up and get a bunch of steaks. And I said, they want to eat that. I didn't know, it's one of those things you don't want to talk about it, but it happened tonight. So I asked them in the locker room and they all said they want to eat tomorrow. And I go, oh boy. And I told my wife this could happen, but I didn't want to jinx it. We weren't going to shop until we got the 10th win, and we got it. So I was on the phone with her trying to place the order of, cooking for 30 some odd players and staff and coaches. And the number can get up to about 45 people. So that's a lot of people, and you got to have a nice little cookout in less than 24 hours. So, but yeah, that's something that we've done here before. It's not easy. Winning 10 games in a row at this level is not an easy thing to do, and our guys deserve to be rewarded for it. And we try to have occasional meals. We're allowed to do that under NCAA rule. Have occasional meals with our guys, and we had one right before the season started, and this is perfect time to have another one.
And then to talk a little bit about Dominic Pitelli, we're here in April, and he's leading your team in home runs and RBI. After last season, he kind of struggled to make his way with the bat. Is this a surprise to you at all after seeing what he did in the offseason to make sure that he was ready for this year?
Well, you started by saying leading the team in home runs. That statement might be surprising. Of course, I told Dom in the locker room he's leading the team in home runs because Josh put it on the paper, which I wish he didn't do, but I mentioned it. But of course, I said it with a wink, like, easy though. You're not a home run guy per se. But look, the wind's blowing out. He's squared up the balls. He's hit some big ones. Of course, the grand slams were huge, absolutely huge for us in the Duke series. He does have a little bit of surprising pop for a little guy. He's always had that. I'm more happy with the consistency that he's had in terms of just being a better hitter. Dom's weakness is trying to lift the ball too much, and I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to try to hit home runs. That's not his game. And we're fortunate. It's a bonus that we've gotten it from him. Albeit 6, we're not hitting a lot of home runs this year, although we have some guys that can hit them, and maybe we go through a stretch where we will hit some more. But he needs to be a guy that's a line drive hitter, hitting the ball to all fields. He has a tendency to get under balls and lift, which he hasn't done lately. And his other, tendency is sometimes to hook the ball and get around and get his hands out and around the ball. But when he stays inside the ball and he backspins the ball, he's got surprising power. And, so I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by.
Our next question comes from Haley Sutton from NBC6. Haley.
Hey, Gino, congrats on the win. Obviously a big series coming up this weekend against Virginia. How do you get the guys, I guess, to kind of stay mentally locked in when you have 2 back-to-back midweek games, a little bit of a break, and then you shift back into conference play?
I thought it'd be, more difficult getting ready for these 2 midweek games myself. I don't think, gosh, I hope it shouldn't be too difficult to get ready for 2 top 10 teams, I guess, ranked matchup. That doesn't happen all the time. And a big ACC series. I think, hopefully we'll have good crowds. I think our guys will be definitely fired up for those games. It's the games like these that are, you're playing, the crowds aren't as big, 6 o'clock game, you got class, you're coming over from class, you got class tomorrow. You worry about these games that we just got done playing the last 2 days, for me, more than being up and ready for the other games. Now, albeit we need to play very good baseball to be successful this weekend, because Virginia is a very good team. But in terms of being mentally ready, and motivated to play, I got to hope that we're ready to go come Friday.
And heading into that series, I guess you're kind of hitting the midway point or getting deep into conference play. I guess, what have you been pleased with so far now that conference is underway and you're getting into some of these big series?
Well, I've told the team still not playing on all cylinders. As a coach, you'd like everything to be right, but we are doing better in areas. Alejandro Rosario has pitched good his last few outings, and that's very promising for us, especially him throwing on a Sunday. Carson Ligon, of course, been a great freshman for us on Saturdays. Hasn't had really, his first few starts were excellent. His other starts, he somehow managed to get through them, but they haven't been up to his standard, in my opinion. Of course, Carson's been good at Fry. So our starters have been good. I think really what I've liked is our bullpen. And I'm talking about the whole bullpen. Not Walt has been good all year. And, Gage, we got to get Gage going. His last few outings haven't been up to his standards. But the bullpen as a whole, the depth of it has been better. You're getting good innings out of Torres, Gallo, and Schlesinger, and JP Gates through the other day. And, some of those guys, of course, Alex McFarland, in his role, what he's doing has been very, very good. All those guys, we're going to need all those guys. We've told them that. And so that to me is promising. And then just getting the lineup, which we've been tinkering with our lineup in the outfield, specifically right field and DH. And we would like to get some consistency there. We're still kind of searching for that. But all in all, guys are playing well and very happy with, when you're winning 10 games in a row, you got to play pretty good baseball. We've played really good defense. We did not early on in the season. I would say during this 10-game stretch, Josh could tell you better than me. I know we didn't make any errors today. I bet we fielded close to probably 980 if I had to guess during this 10-game stretch, which would lead the nation. Usually 980 right around there is leading the nation somewhere in that ballpark.
Our next question comes from Christopher Stock from InsideTheU. Chris.
Gino, could you touch on Virginia, what you kind of know about them at this point, what's made them a strong team? And obviously Jake's having a heck of a year.
I don't know much about them, Chris. Our coaches have start watching them and preparing them for them now as we're speaking and tomorrow. And I think I've been told they've got some lefties in their rotation. I always know Virginia is a very, very well coached team, very fundamentally sound, usually a difficult team to strike out. They do a very good job of putting the ball in play and hitting with 2 strikes, usually a very good defensive team. They're very good at manufacturing runs. They're just very well coached. Other than that, I don't know what players or who is doing well for them, but we'll know a lot more come the end of the day tomorrow and going into Friday. But when you're trying to prepare for all these games and stuff, it's difficult. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. So there's a lot of work being done right now and going into all day tomorrow and then into Friday.
Can we get an update on Carlos Perez and Lorenzo Carrier? Obviously haven't been out there. And then is Jordan okay? If just update on those guys.
Jordan Dubberly?
Yes. Is he fine?
He's fine. He got cramped. It got really humid here all of a sudden. I guess if we played yesterday, Tuesday, it was humid and it was very humid. It feels like it's late in the season right now in early April. That it's extremely humid. So he's fine. Jordan Dubberly's fine with cramps. Lorenzo Carrier, we're waiting to hear from Lorenzo. Is me communicating with his dad and his mom, but there's a chance he might be out for the season. He had a dislocation in his shoulder on a swing back at UCF, and he's got a little small tear, I guess, in the labrum. So they're going to have to repair that. And if he does go on with this, along with the surgery, which I think he's going to, he'll be out for the rest of the year, unfortunately. And in regards to Carlos Perez, is still trying to come back from the pinky injury early on, getting hit with the ball. He's been able to swing the bat a little bit, but catching has been more difficult. And so it's one of those things where, he's been cleared by the doctors, but he hasn't felt comfortable himself, more so catching than hitting, but both. He hasn't been able to really do both at the level that you need to play in a game. So we're just kind of day by day, and we're working with him. He caught a bullpen today, and he hit, and just one of those things. When he tells us he can go, he'll go, but he hasn't said that yet.
Anything else for Gino? Awesome. Gino, thank you for your time and congrats on the win.
Okay, thank you.
Recording.
So that was great. Definitely good to get updates on those guys. As you heard, it sounds like Lorenzo Carey is going to miss the rest of the season. Very disappointing freshman, very talented freshman. He was the guy that started in right field. So when you hear Coach talk about how they need a guy to step up in right field, Carrier was that guy. So certainly disappointing. He had that great start to the season, as I mentioned. Then Carlos Perez, it sounds like they're trying to get him back. One of the luxuries is with this team is they're winning games, so they've got they can kind of take it slow a little bit there, and then doubly able to ask about him. So Coach wasn't available to the media after last night's game, which is why no update really on Jordan last night. Shout out to everybody that's in here. I want to get into some things that Coach had to say. Certainly he touched on Garland. I figured he'd go that route. They wanted to get him. It was very important for him to save the bullpen. So that was good. Also, the very first thing he said was just great that they did not look ahead, which I asked a question earlier to one of the players, but also it was one of the things I felt like was really important too, that they didn't look ahead. So let's talk about Virginia a little bit. I asked Coach about Jake Geloff. He's the guy that leads the nation in home runs, 14 home runs. We could look at his stats right here. It's been phenomenal. Third baseman, bats fourth in the lineup for the Cavaliers. 14 home runs, 28 games. Not only does he lead the nation in home runs coming into today's games, but he leads the nation in RBIs as well, 51, which is just ridiculous. Miami's top guy coming into it, for example, coming into today, Miami's top guys were at 28. Pitelli picks up 4 today, so he's at 31. So just to put it in perspective, a guy with 51. And also, if it's not on RBIs, I'll go back to home runs. I don't know where he's at, but anyways, they've got another batter. I don't want to spend. Well, you know what? I know it's there. I thought it was RBI. Maybe I missed it, but Virginia has another hitter that I want to point out too. So it's not just that Jake's doing well, and certainly he will be tough to handle. He's just having a breakout year, National Player of the Year candidate, definitely ACC Player of the Year. Just having a great year. He's batting over 400. I think he was 430 coming into today's game. And there it is. Alex Tappan, right there. Maybe you guys saw it and were getting frustrated because I kept overlooking it, but they also have another guy tied for 5th there in RBIs with 43. I knew that. I just didn't know if it was home runs or RBIs, and I kept overlooking it. So anyways, they've got 2 guys really hitting the ball well. When I asked Coach about Virginia, I didn't know how much he had looked ahead. And typically, he doesn't focus on a series coming up until it's actually time. So for him to say that they haven't really looked into it too much, it's not a surprise. But I did wonder if, because Virginia started out so hot, they were top 5 in the country. As I mentioned, they started 22-1. I didn't, with the season that Geloff has had, I didn't know if he had kind of peeked ahead and kind of had been paying attention to what they were doing, knowing that this was coming up. But certainly he'll learn all about it. It's definitely been a good program. Miami's. We'll get into some Virginia stuff. Like I said, I will go into full Virginia series preview posted tomorrow on the channel, on the website. You will get a look at that. Virginia right now 5-1. They're up 5-1, bottom of the 6th. Geloff's at bat right now. You know what? I want to see if maybe I'll take you guys right to that game real quick. But anyways, certainly a big series, and we can certainly focus on that. Miami's going to have to come up big. You touched on Alejandro Rosario. Has been settling into that 3rd starting role on Sunday. He's got to pitch well. Carson Ligon, the freshman, has been in that Saturday role. Games will be at Marklight Field, 7 o'clock, and 1 o'clock. First 2 games on ACC Network. 3rd game will be on ACC Network Extra. But it should be a good environment at the stadium, and they've been doing a good job there. And And I'm just looking in. I was trying to see if the Virginia game.
Good takes on Willard's out pitch breaking ball. I mean, this is the difference where Virginia can be hyper aggressive early in the count and just play baseball late in the count.
The 2-2 pitch fouled back into the stands. I'd keep that souvenir, Runes. Maybe even if I was an adult, right. I might keep that foul ball from Geloff.
I'm still going to try to, okay. Geloff was up to bat. I was trying to quickly get over to the game. I was able to listen to it. Wasn't able to show you guys. Had it on the wrong setting. But anyways, he bounced into fielder's choice, as you can see here. So 5-1, bottom of the 6th. Looking at the ACC standings, Miami's 10-2, Virginia 9-3. Certainly they're vying for that spot, and all the seedings make a difference when they come into the ACC tournament. You definitely want to be one of those top 4 teams. You can get one of the top 2 seeds if you win your division there. So obviously a big series, and with how the rest of the Coastal Division, it certainly looks like this is going to be a Virginia-Miami battle until the end of the season. North Carolina dropped is 6-6, Virginia Tech 5-5. Not a lot of power teams right now in that Coastal Division. Georgia Tech was ranked at one point. They're not ranked right now. However, Louisville, Notre Dame are ranked on the other side in the Atlantic. We can look at the D1 Baseball Top 25 poll. This is the poll that I use in all my rankings for articles. This is what you typically will see on TV broadcast. It is also the poll that is used on the NCAA website. So that's why I like to use it. I like to stay consistent. I think sometimes you will see different ratings and polls. There's 4 or 5 of them out there. Sometimes schools will pick the lowest one and go with, but I try to be consistent, and I pick the D1 baseball poll. So that's a few reasons why. Also, I think they do a good job of covering the sport. So Virginia ranked 3rd. Looking at other ACC teams, Miami jumps up from 17-8 on Monday there when the poll was released, 4-0 week. And just kind of moving on. And Louisville, Notre Dame, like I mentioned, they're on the other side, 12th and 13th. There's been a lot of teams in the ACC that have been ranked this year. Florida State is currently 20th. They dropped from 5th. Terrible week, 0-4. NC State, North Carolina, both ranked as well. I touched on Georgia Tech. They fell out of the rankings, as does the Florida Gators. So Miami's playing well right now. And, you know, there's a lot of things that Miami's doing well, and it's great that they're winning. You heard about the steak dinner. That's exciting for the team. They're going to do that tomorrow night. Get ready for a big weekend series. Certainly Carson Palmquist, to get it started on Friday there, he's been pitching really well all season long. He just had that one bad start, and it goes, other than that, he's been good. He's been excellent. So he's been stepping up into that starter role, and anytime you go into a big series, you need your Friday night guy, your ace. And Miami, when they've had really good teams, they've had that number one guy that they can rely on, and Carson certainly pitched well and is that guy. Andrew Walters, as the closer, has been lights out. Picked up his 9th save on Tuesday against Florida Gulf Coast. He has 12 appearances, 9 for 9 on save opportunities, no runs, no earned runs, only 3 hits in 16 2/3 innings, 31 strikeouts, 2 walks. He's averaging over 16 strikeouts per 9 innings. He has a whip of 0.30. It's really phenomenal what he's been able to do stepping in. I liked him last year. I've said it before. I would even have looked at him as a starter this year just because give him more innings, but he's a guy that I've liked since he's been at UM, and certainly for him to pitch the way he's pitching right now, coming off of the season that Palmquist had, is really impressive. So I want to, I'm going to wrap this up here. If you have any other questions, again, just jumping on, we were able to talk to Edgardo Villegas and Dominic Pitelli and Gino DiMare. And what I'll do is I put chapters on the video so you can go straight to their interviews and see exactly when they talked if you missed those. So you can get back into that. So it definitely looks like Virginia's going to go ahead and win this game over Liberty, improve to 26-3. Like I said, they started 22-1, so they've lost a couple in the last few games, but it's going to be a big series. I'm excited about this one. as Miami winning this series will certainly set the tone. And I think it's important for the team because of how they played against the Florida series, where they did not play well and they dropped their last 2 games and getting blown out against a good team. Florida's had its struggles since, but at that time, that was a big series and Miami came up short. And certainly Miami has taken care of business since then, and done well. The North Carolina series in particular, North Carolina was ranked and they definitely did well in that one. So, but this is a different team. Virginia is certainly a good team, and they've been impressive. And get a chance to watch Geloff in action, I think that'll be impressive for you guys. Hopefully Miami can shut them down. They'll definitely need to do that. So I'm going to wrap this up. Updates on Carlos Perez and Lorenzo Carrier and Jordan Dubberly. Disappointing to hear the news about Carrier. So I'm going to wrap this up. The post-game show, the Inside the U live post-game show. Miami Hurricanes improve to 23-6 with their 10th straight win, beating FIU 17-1. FIU drops to 10-18. Jake Garland's the winner, improves to 5-1. Kristen Santana, the loser, drops to 0-1. Thanks everybody for jumping on here. Hopefully you have a good rest of the night. Definitely stay locked into the channel and take care.